Dear friend, dear fellow patriot, dear Trump acolyte, remember the cap I wear today, which emblematically details the reality that we're going through, and that is the rules have changed. The rules have changed. That simple. I don't know how to say it other than to say the rules have changed. And what that means is more than just the notion of the rules of politics, but the rules of this endeavor that the president has engaged in. Because there was a ceasefire, there's no ceasefire, there's 2 weeks, there's no 2 weeks, let me consider this, let me not consider this. There's been this idea that you can just be strategically deceptive and that somehow that will be construed as some form of, I don't know, some kind of tacit or some form of strategic benefit. I don't know. All I know, and this is critical to realize, all I know is that the rules have changed. And the rules have changed because, Mr. President and others, we're engaging in something here that you're going to have to remember cannot be corrected by virtue of this biased and completely unrealistic Fox News. I want you to ask yourself a very simple question. If you were Iran, would you say, yeah, I'll do the ceasefire? Iran would say, Israel attacks me, Trump attacks me, and now I'm supposed to, I fight back under the rules of engagement. You might not like this, but I fight back, and now I've made a mistake because I fought back. What would you do? What would you expect me to do? What would anybody do? That's what we're talking about right now. So we're going to go through this the best as possible. Let me remind you that if you're watching, please take to heart that a lot of folks are going to be reacting today, not out of any sense of connection to reality or fact, but out of a sense of anger. A sense of anger or just a sense of just saying something. But either way, we're glad you could join us. Please make sure you are subscribed to Lionel Nation. This is critical. Make sure you are subscribed to Lionel Nation. Make sure you are paying close attention. But before we begin, dear friends, this very critical and important word from our critical and important sponsor. Copper inventories are scraping 15-year lows, just as Washington floats import tariffs. The U.S. growth machine runs on metal it barely controls. Every EV line, data center build, and power grid upgrade risks choking on supply gaps. Cost spike, project stall, investors eat the squeeze. Miss the window, and you're funding someone else's margin. Giant Mining Corp's Majuba Hill District in Nevada is built for this moment. 9,800 acres with highway, rail, power, gas, and fiber already on the claims. Recent core drilling sliced a 170-foot zone averaging 0.4% copper, crowned by a 10-foot streak at 4.4. Grades majors pay billions for. An AI-driven model just lit up new conductors, and independent engineers are already building resource estimates while rivals drown in red tape. Phase 2 rigs roll this quarter. Speed wins the super cycle, and Majuba is built for speed. Dig deeper at giantminingcorp.com, on the OTC at BFGFF in the US and BFG in Canada. My friends, we're seeing right now the effects of Fox News diplomacy. We're seeing reality here. And for the longest time, I've been saying, and many great and fabulous people, much like myself, have been saying, can we please talk about reality for a moment? Can we please talk about reality? Do you mind if we talk about reality? Now, so far, it seems like this. President Trump's gamble, one would say, to broker a ceasefire after ostensibly dropping bombs, maybe on 3 nuclear sites, Fodor, Natanz, and Isfahan, maybe. Some people are suggesting that there was nothing dropped there in the first place, that the only thing that even remotely was workable was Fodor, and that had already been moved, that the uranium and all of the various inventories were removed. But President Trump has gambled, whatever, to broker this ceasefire between Israel and Iran, and it has apparently unraveled in spectacular fashion because the rules have changed. And the results are as ugly as predicted. President Trump, our great President Trump, who proudly announced the ceasefire is now in effect, was forced less than 24 hours later into a, basically they call it a full-blown tantrum, landing F-bombs and public rebukes on both sides. According to both Breitbart and the New York Post, he unleashed frustration on Iran and Israel, declaring they, quote, don't know what they're talking about. Excuse me, what they're doing. They don't know what the F they're doing. And he warned Israel to recall its pilots immediately. Immediately. What do you think that's about? What, pray tell, do you think that's about? Do you think he's finally getting tired, really getting tired, and getting the message of what a BB connection is? Because he's used to this. You see, the saga began with President Trump's dramatic initiative. After U.S. strikes allegedly, putatively, reportedly decimated Iranian nuclear facilities, he brokered a ceasefire in concert with his Gulf partners, positioning it as a kind of a foreign policy triumph. But the honeymoon, apparently, my friends, the honeymoon was, well, shall we say fleeting? Israeli warplanes reportedly unloaded right after we made the deal. A brazen violation that sent Trump into a diplomatic tailspin. He was furious. See? Now, I'm not saying that, but a lot of folks are saying, see? Now, at the same time, Iran allegedly launched missiles at Israeli cities and a U.S. base in Qatar, which triggered an emergency Gulf Arab summit and raised the specter of wider conflict. What do you think was going to happen? What do you think? What did you think Iran was going to do? I mean, let's get real, folks. Any ceasefire without real enforcement, without command and control over Israel's war machine or Imam Khomeini's Revolutionary Guard, it's a fantasy. Trump's so-called truce was little more than theater. A kind of a Reuters source reference. I mean, the people look. I'm going to be honest with you. Spare me the diplomatic spin. We're hearing all the usual lies. This is delicate. We must stay calm. Peace is fragile. But spare us. Israel's bombing runs were deliberate, predictable, and carryover from its brutal Operation Rising Lion. And Iran's missile attacks and salvos were a calculated response. A response to an attack, which under the laws, many people say is acceptable, which is provided. Not confusion or accident. It's a different story. It's a different story altogether. You know, this puppet ceasefire did nothing but kick the can down a cliff with no plan to catch it. And what we're seeing right now is, well, some people are calling Trump's temper tantrum. I think it's legitimate frustration. He flew to The Hague for a NATO summit. Oh, that's going to be good. But couldn't contain his ire, his anger, his public groveling, dropping bombs on fools who don't know what they're doing, underlines really how weak this was. Listen, Mr. President, you're supposedly the deal maker, giving the orders to sovereign nations. Bring your pilots home now. I mean, this is not the way it was supposedly done. That's less strategic finesse. And some people may say it's, a tantrum. I think it's legitimate frustration. I can certainly understand, but I don't think he's ever done anything like this before. Now, why it matters is simple. The region exploded again. Missiles over civilian centers and retaliation airstrikes in Tehran and drone raids in Iraq. And Gulf defense ministers rushed to Doha for emergency talks. And Qatar's prime minister or PM pleaded for diplomacy and warned that Iran had regret, if you will. Oil prices dipped only because markets liked the idea of peace, but it never materialized. Now, America is getting played. You're being played. Make no mistake. Israel didn't need Trump to bomb Iran. It's Israel's war. Iran's survival calculus was pretty much laid bare, many people say, in Tehran's retaliation. It was aimed at showing that they wouldn't be pushed around. And America, we're caught in the crossfire. We're dumped on by both sides. Trump swings between, cheerleading one ally and shaming them and back and forth. And he risks American lives and strategic credibility. We got to make sure. He's got to understand what's happening here. And the best way to prevent this is don't get involved in this. So who's really in control? Anybody who thinks that you can negotiate with Iran and Israel from the safety of an office without boots on the ground or in the sand or whatever you want to call it, or real leverage is deluded. This so-called ceasefire failed because there were no consequences, no neutral force, no enforceable penalties, no unified coalition, just, social posts and truth socials and virtue signaling and all this other kind of stuff. Meanwhile, Iran continues enriching uranium in secret, which everybody knows, prepping for the next round, I guess. And Israel has an even a bigger problem, an ever-present trigger finger. So this is a dangerous tango. For President Trump, this was a power play, an attempt to rebrand himself as the mediator capable of, shaking up the Middle East after he attacked Iran. Instead, it looks like somebody called a slapdash theater. Approving strikes that destabilize the region and then pretending he's the referee only makes him look like he doesn't know what the hell he's doing or what the F he's doing, to use his language. And these are lessons nobody wants to learn. There's no pause in this war. It's perpetual. Sovereign countries, sovereign actors like Israel and Iran can't be summoned by the commander-in-chief's, I keep calling them tweets. They're not tweets, but whatever they call them, postings. Without boots, without people, which we don't want, without peacemakers or true enforcement, a ceasefire is nothing more than a meme. It doesn't make any sense. And our credibility sinks when we advertise deals we can't deliver. And worst of all, we end up lending moral cover for and to the very chaos that we're trying to stop. So what comes next? We've already said this, but we're already in the next level of hatred and screaming and acrimony and whatever. Talk of renewed airstrikes, Iranian nuclear enrichment continuing underground, potential hard right Israeli coalition rearming, Gulf Arab defenses scrambling. The ceasefire, how long did it last? It folded faster than a cheap tent in a sandstorm, as somebody said. Now look, the final word is this. This fiasco exposes the folly, the lunacy, the fantasy of flash diplomacy from Washington. President Trump got played on both ends. Israel exploited his ambition for maximum bombing freedom. Iran used the window to recalibrate its posture, and the result, it's a spectacle of violence, broken promises, broken ceasefires, and American humiliation. All while the peace broker rants on the Hague runway. This isn't what we're supposed to be doing. And if you think you can manipulate this region with statements and bombastic rhetoric, whatever, and media theater, you think again. The next ceasefire won't come from social media. It'll demand strategy and teeth and the refusal to be fooled. And look, and until that happens, we're all just signaling and playing around in the dark. Listen, I have been trying my very best, and I have tried to, as your leader, as your faithful leader, your dear leader. I'm called dear leader. Please remember this. And I've been telling you from the beginning what's happening here. Brad says there's a new kid in town. Everybody's talking about the new kid in town, the Eagles. I don't know what that means. I love when people say, I'm going to quote something. Dynamo hum, dynamo hum. Well, thank you for that. Well, listen, nobody likes what I've said, and I appreciate this because we like to live in this ha-ha-ha world. But the bottom line is simply this. I would say, Mr. President, do you want me to tell you the truth or not? Do you want me to tell you? If you think you can continue following either an, I hate to say it, either an APAC or a playing kind of like co-defendant, co-dependent, co-adversary, co-belligerent with Israel, you're crazy. These folks don't know. They've never, well, I should say, they don't know peace. They're not, doesn't bother Bibi in the least. And you keep listening to what's going on in the world, don't you? You keep listening to the world, don't you? You keep, who do you go to? Who? Tell me. What, Fox News? How many times do I got to tell you this? How many times do I have to tell you about Fox News? How many times? Why don't people understand it? Why is it so difficult for people to understand that you can't listen to these people? Why don't you see what this is? This is kabuki theater. This is stuff. These are people coming out of the woodwork to get involved in this game. They love this. They are absolutely loving this. They think it's the best thing in the world. I don't know why, but they do. And I don't understand why they missed the point. This is the part that I, Mr. President, let me take over. Number one, leave Iran alone. And the reason is not because I want to be nice, but you can't get them. You can't. You don't want to. People are saying, he actually went for Iran? Only in America are people saying, now that's the way to do it. That's terrific. And then you hear these ideas that, well, maybe there is something to regime change. Maybe there's something to. There's nothing to regime change. There's nothing here. You've got to leave these folks alone. I know this bothers people, but it's like, I'm not trying to be weak, but it's like, it's ridiculous. Only you've got to be crazy. Why would you want to do this? Why? It doesn't make, it's like going after Russia or something. It's like, why would you want to do this? If you have the choice, if you have the chance, if you have the opportunity to decide whether to move in, why in the name of God would you ever want to do this? It's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. You actually went forward when nobody told you to, when nobody forced your hand, and you thought, I'm going to do this. And there you were with pictures in the situation room with your red hat, which I'm telling you, stylistically, I know nobody cares about this, but I'm going to tell you, stylistically, I don't understand why that even happened. It seemed kind of silly. Now listen, You can't do this. These people have to. And here's this is the part that nobody. Mr. President, you've been listening too much to Bibi Netanyahu. Bibi Netanyahu has been playing you. Oh, Mr. President, Israel thanks you. What I would pick up the phone and say, why did you say that? Why did you say Israel thanks you? I didn't do this for Israel, remember? You just played into the trope, into the meme that I'm trying to get away from. I didn't do this for Israel. Remember, Bibi? I did this for, justice or peace or some other reason. I didn't do it for Israel. I don't know what to tell people. I honest God, don't know. I don't know if anybody's even paying attention. I don't know if anybody's paying attention. I think sometimes, I mean this, I think sometimes that the president might believe his own theater. He might believe his own story. He might believe his own presentation. That somehow MAGA and this thing called MAGA, this whatever this force is absolutely not only impenetrable, but it's beyond. It is immane in its power, and it can do whatever it wants. Now, under the rules, this is the rule, whether you like it or not. Under the rules, if you attack a country, this may come as a shock to you. Under the rules that everybody recognizes, you can retaliate. Let me say this again. Let me make sure you heard me. If you attack a country, they have the right to retaliate. You know that, right? So for you to sit there and attack Iran and then tell them, don't fight back. Don't fight back. After Israel, okay, went after them. Think about this. Israel and then America, and they're supposed to do nothing? That makes sense to you? Why do you think this is so difficult to understand? One of the reasons why is because I think that people for the longest time, they have been so used to this anti-Iranian, this rhetoric, that they're crazy people. They're lunatics. They're people who don't understand. They have you heard this thing lately? This is so funny. They say these women don't understand it. Iranian women can't even walk down the street. Have you paid any attention to any kind of social media, anything? Let me give you a hint. You might like this. If ever you want to find out what a country is like, a city is like, anything. If you want to know what it's really like to be in a city or in a place, ask yourself this question, or just do this. Go and find out. How do I say this? Go to any kind of food blog for that city. For example, if you want to see what Dayton, Ohio is, if you want to see what Tehran is like, go to street food and whatever, and you'll see what people look like, what people wear, how people act, and see for yourself. There are people who swear that women cannot walk down the street of Tehran, and they're saying, no, it looks almost like, in some places, like, yes, they do have morality police, but they start talking themselves into this insanity where there's this hellhole called Iran, and even if it is, what are we supposed to do? Liberate people from it? If they don't want to live there, leave. What are we supposed to do? Are we seriously? Are we supposed to leave? It's the most incredible thing in the world. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how to put it into words other than to tell you that what are we doing? What in the name of God are we doing? Where does this insanity come from? where do we think we are what are we going to accomplish? The rest of the world is looking at us like, what are you doing? They're Iran, don't you understand? And they keep telling us, you're doing this for Israel. No, we're not. No, we're not. So let me ask you. You think the president learned something here? Did the president learn anything, do you think? Do you think he did? Do you think President Trump this time said, enough of this stuff, enough of this nonsense? Do you think so? Do you think the president finally learned something? Do you think that he maybe learned? Do you think he realizes this isn't the way it is? These people are serious. Or does he figure, I don't care? Does he say, look, I knew this was going to be tough. I knew this was going to be tough. What are you going to do? What am I supposed to do? I understand. I don't know what people thought. Of course, this has been going on for a long time. There's a fellow named Roy Casagrande. Roy Casagrande. And Roy Casagrande is, I think he's a history professor. And he gives this wonderful idea about the Middle East. And what he does is, which is so interesting regarding the Middle East, he said there's this idea that somehow there's always been fighting. That he's always been fighting. There's always been fighting. The Middle East has been this hellhole for the longest time. And that since the beginning of time. And he says, no, throughout the generations, it hasn't been like that in the least. In fact, the only time there have been historically problems in the Middle East is when there was invasion, whether it was Genghis Khan, the Mongols, or Alexander the Great, or Romans, or what have you. But no, left to their own devices, there hasn't been a problem. The problem has been in Europe. That's been the bloodbath. See, so we create these things, and we say things like Satan. Somebody writes Satan. Satan is the most overused concept. Whenever we don't know what to say something, we just attribute it. We don't know what this is. And the bottom line is what I said in the beginning. What are you doing? Diplomacy. Or maybe backdoor stuff, or maybe perhaps some other form of, I don't know what the word is, some other form of reference may be in order. Why are we doing this? America first. And then you have these absolute clowns who are these little, look, you want to have these little internecine fights go ahead between Candace Owens and Anna Kasparian and others about Israel. Look, you'll never see me scream and yell. I don't understand this. The real frustration I feel is half of the time trying to read your comments and wondering, what the hell are you talking about? But other than that, and that's easily remedial, like I should say. But this is another story. Look, let me see if I can put this into perspective. Once and for all you great and glorious and wonderful people. We live in a world, I'm trying to tell you this, we live in a world that doesn't make any sense, okay? Why people fight, we can talk about this forever. But rule number 1, stay out of this. Don't go picking fights. Don't go out and extend. This is neocon. We're going to go and we're going to extend our glory. He's only been warning Fodor how long? They've told they're going to attack us. Does anybody here really believe that Iran didn't understand what he was after? Does anybody really think, seriously, that Iran didn't know anything about this? Did anybody think that? Did anybody really think that they didn't say, we better move this stuff? What? We know about bunker busts. We've only been talking about this forever. What's going on? Now, the president should stick more to his domestic policy, his tariff talk, crime, our congestion pricing in New York City. We have a big primary today. We have one of the most radical leftists ever in American history. He should be lending himself to domestic. He's going to The Hague. They're going to be laughing at him. You know it. He's going to be pissed off. He wants to be Saladin. He wants to be Caesar, Caesar, Gaius Julius Caesar. He wants to be Patton. He wants to be Washington. This isn't the way to do it because he doesn't understand the nature of the people involved. He doesn't. I don't. And plus, the rest of the world doesn't want him. They want to have America cut this out. And right now, Iran is so emboldened. I heard today somebody was suggesting, regime change might be. There's absolutely no chance of regime change. No chance whatsoever of regime change. What are you talking about? What are we talking about? Listen, I have not left or lost for a moment my support of this president. Ever. There's nobody else. I don't want to go back to Biden or any of those other people. But he's got to understand this. This isn't whoever's advising him, Bibi and the left and Mark Levin and Sean Hannity and all these people, but Mark Levin, they've got nothing to lose. They get their checks. They get their support. They get to be the mouthpiece. They're out there. He has nothing to lose. He goes out there and he's the voice of this. And you talk about Iran and they're evil and all this. What about China? Well, China's a different story. I'm going to say this the other day, or again, I heard this the other day. People were actually saying, literally, dude, literally, they were suggesting that a legitimate reason for attacking Iran was because of what they said. Think about what I'm saying. What they said. That is absolutely insane. So understand something. Do not be confused. I support President Trump, but he's got to realize this. Bibi is going to send you down a path you don't want to go. Our friend Saberton Toy says, love you, Lionel. Hit that like and subscribe button. Absolutely. Hit that. Also, July 19th at the Cutting Room, ladies and gentlemen. July 19th. Be there for that phenomenal, that moment of excitement at the Cutting Room. Tickets are available. You see that little link. Have you learned? Have you seen how this is? This isn't going away. There's not going to be any regime change. The people that are in Iran are happy. They love this guy. And if anything happens to him, you went after generals. How much do you think Iran's going to take? How much? How much do you think they're supposed to take? And how much are other people going to allow? You haven't even seen Hezbollah yet. You don't want to get it to the point where people start feeling sorry for them. And that's where we are right now. Mr. President, domestic, America first. If Bibi wants to attack him, let him attack. Because we still haven't forgotten Gaza. That's not done. And a lot of people still cannot believe the horror that is Gaza. Mr. President, please, we love you. We voted for you. We voted for America first. We can't be everywhere. We're in 800 military bases in 80, 85, 75, 80 countries. 750 bases in 80 countries. What's going on? What's the matter with us? What is this? Who's running what is this? The Podhoretz family? The Crystal family? What is this? The Leo Strauss school of this neocon lunacy? Enough with this. We have to be able to sit back and protect ourselves because our supplies, our munitions, our stockpiles are running thin. We're giving them away. We're wasting our time. What happened to that battle group? We sent the Nimitz out. What was that for? How much did that cost us? To go out there and pretend we're doing what? What? I think the president, I think he likes this thing where he goes away and says, they don't know what I'm going to do they? They'll find out. If I were you, I'd be in the war room tonight. Bring your red hat. I still can't believe that. That's not the right optics. Sorry. Not the right optics. So my dear friends, I say to you, and I mean this with all my heart, I love this country and I love this president, and I think he's just splendid. But what I also am telling you right now, and this is critical, what I also believe is that if we are to be in a position, and I mean this, if we're honest to God going to be in a position where we are in the best suited to handle our own issues, we have to sit down with BB and say, now listen, we've been friends for a long time, but we need a little bit of a break. Do you ever have somebody, like two people are dating and somebody says, I think I need a little time. That means it's over. Anybody who tells you, I need some time away. No. Everybody needs a little time away. I heard her say, I think Peter Cetera is saying it best. Come on, stop it. So here's the bottom line. Thank you for this. Thank you for your time. Thank you, President Trump. Thank you, Conspiratorium. Thank you, America. Thank you, everything. Let's sit back. Let calmer heads prevail. Stop this. Stop this. Back channel it. You don't have. I know you like to go to the war room or the control, whatever you want to call this, the situation room with Susie Wiles, who looked as bored. Did you see a picture of her? She looks like, what am I doing here? Everybody here? Yeah. Tulsi, you here? And Tulsi Gabbard, she was right. And they really don't have, and whatever, and by the way, they're not going to be giving nuclear weapons, but if you think that the weapons grade, the weapons purification, or the program has been derailed, you're out of your mind. Absolutely not, because the whole world now is combined, because they're still standing firm. They have their own constituency, their own. You're emboldening these people. They're stronger now than they were before. What are you doing? They're stronger. They're standing up to you. It's like, if you're going to get them to a fight, finish them off. You don't just do this pinprick stuff and then expect them to say, okay, we're going to ceasefire. No. And the best is Israel. I could understand Iran not abiding by a ceasefire, because why? But Israel, even they're doing it. They're not even listening to you. Mr. President, the world is looking at you and saying Israel's not listening. And plus, we don't believe any of these news stories. Any of these Fox News with Lawrence showing us, here's another graphic. Look, here's this cool plane. There's the Bombay door. Oh, look, it fell. Oh, this is enough of this. We're beyond this. We have things to worry about here. We've got crime. We've got infrastructure. Not infa, as people say. What are we doing? For the love of God, stop it. All right, dear friends, I love you. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us a little bit earlier this morning. Sabertron Toys, thank you. Bradley Opland, thank you. And thank you, dear friends, for being a part of this. Remember, God bless America. Thank you, President Trump. We're with you. We're not going anywhere. We're behind you. We want the best for you, and we most importantly want the best for our country. That's it. So when you finally, I think maybe he'll say, this is ridiculous. We cannot have our foreign policy be dictated by any country, whether it's NATO, whether it's Tel Aviv, whoever it is. We have to think about our priorities, what's good for our country, what's good for us. Because, sir, the rules have changed. Remember that. All right, dear friends, have a great and a glorious day. Thank you so much. It's going to be a hot one today. Right now, it's already 85. It's supposed to be over 100 degrees in New York City. Ooh, so that's going to be interesting. All right, friends, thank you so much. We love you madly. Have a great and a glorious day. Don't forget, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Huh? I can't hear you, honey. I said July 19th. I'll say it again. Cutting room, July 19th. Tickets available right here. Tickets available. I want to see you there. It'll be a barn burner, my friends. Okay? But don't forget to follow Lynn's Warriors as well. Okay, Frit kids. That's it. We'll see you later. Remember, subscribe. I may pop up live. So until then, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da, da.